let's talk about the habits of Gen Z, online and offline. What's the behavior and what stands out to you?
There's a lot. I mean, some of this even just still touches on the first question, just because like building inadvertently and advertently building a personal brand is so like clear and important to them. And they're building, so then back to that question is they're building that personal brand on more platforms. You know, we all are, but on average, younger people today are 8 to 9 platforms that they're using, and by the numbers, by the data, it's a little bit less as you go down to boomers. But as a world culture, we're all using more platforms, more technology, more tools. You want to restate that question though?
It was just like, what's their behavior online? And I think to expand upon what you were saying is that, I think young people are projecting themselves onto these social media platforms, whether it's Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook. And I think they're at times, because of the anxiety, the stress, the knowledge and everything, through these different platforms, they're projecting different personas. But then when, they kind of get together, it's different. Like on social media, there may be like superheroes and ballers and hustlers and grinders and all that stuff, and then maybe offline it's like working at In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah, I mean, they are the masters of the persona management, the curation or the non-curation. Like one example of that is having like an Instagram account, but then having their Finstagram account, their fake Instagram account. Yeah. That's like, not like, that's just the thing. You have that because you can be anyone you want in the Finsta, probably where you're with your real friends, or you're over at Snapchat where everything's real. You're all keeping it real over there. And then obviously this is different groups are on Twitter, and then they're just like, having this conversation, it's like this most quick, intimate conversation with everyone. And then, you're on Messenger where you've got like super curated groups of people. And that's like some of the discrepancies, because a lot of the data will say, like the data will say they don't use, most of the data will all say they're using Facebook, right? Yeah. But then you'll read into it and you'll be like, they don't use Facebook. They don't use Facebook. But they do use Facebook. They've got Facebook for logins, just like with Google. They've got Facebook connected to Messenger. And that happens like, and this is like all generalities, but like as they get a little bit older, like kind of teen on into young adult, that Messenger is like critical tool. And then you've got, depending on, how they're connecting Instagram, obviously, that's like more of like, I don't want to say radio, but like, it's more just, flipping through, depending on what your interests are. And then Snapchat, you're getting real.
Yeah.
And then when you're on, Twitch or Discord or like all these other waves, you're like with family. You're like, you're deep in your interest. You're where the real action's going on, where you're live streaming, because that's their telephone.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I think makes it difficult for brands is that which consumer are you targeting at that point, okay? Because if there's this kind of like pretend persona, and you're getting data from that, but then there's the real person, there's a different data, and I'm sure the behaviors are completely different.
Completely different.
You got how do you differentiate that as a brand? So I mean, just talk about making it so much more difficult for brands.
So much more difficult.
Right. That's why they need guys like you.
Well, they do, and they need guys like you. What everybody needs to do, not to jump ahead in your questions, but it's like if like the cultures that everyone's into, now you're not just stuck in this like generational corner. You're going like, hey, they're into knitting. These people are into maker culture. These people are into cheerleading. It doesn't really matter, EDM. You can target by culture, and then you can hyper target within, laser target, whatever you want to say, within those cultures, right? again, like like a lot of natural understanding when you're in action sports.
Yeah.
You know, you've got your graphics for the cartoon kids, and you've got your hardcore stuff with, you know, beer and everything else for the older guys.
Yeah.